Hi, everyone. This is Paul Garrard. I'm founder and president of PGPresents. We're an independent student loan consulting company, and we've put together a series of repayment modules that are designed to help you guys do a better job of managing your student loans. Module number 1 is on some common sense steps to help you select the best repayment strategy for your student loans. There are 3 very simple steps in order to determine the best repayment strategy for your student loans. Number 1 is a bit of a 3-parter. First of all, very important that you know what you borrowed, what kind of loans you have in your student loan portfolio, who has your loans, meaning who is your loan servicer, and when they come due. We're going to look at that in detail in just a moment. Also, step number 2, be sure you identify and constantly review your repayment objectives. Some of you will want to be aggressive in repayment. Others will need to be cautious. Some of you may be interested in qualifying for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Regardless of what your approach is, always constantly review it, as it may change as you go through training and as you become an attending physician. Then once you know what you borrowed, who's got the loans, when they're coming due, and you have a pretty good idea about how you want to go about this, the last step is to simply select a repayment plan that helps you meet those objectives and also know how to switch gears later on if you need to. Now let's take a look at step number 1, your student loan portfolio. All of the federal loans you've ever had, including any loans you took out while you were in college or perhaps a post-bac program, they're housed on a federal database called the National Student Loan Data System, available at nslds.ed.gov. Also on this site, if you're not sure who your loan servicer is, and remember, a loan servicer is just a third party that the government contracts with to work with you in repayment, you can find your loan servicer on nslds.ed.gov. When you log in and go to the financial aid summary, simply click on the number to the left of each loan, and you'll get a back page that lists information on your loan servicer. We think you'll find that you have one loan servicer for all of your federally owned loans. So even though you're graduating with multiple loans, we think you'll find you have one loan servicer for all those loans. And for many of you, that will negate the need to consolidate. If you have any what are called campus-based loans, these are loans that came directly from the school. There will be a different loan servicer for those. Check with your financial aid office if you're not sure who the loan servicer is for any campus-based loans you have. And if you think you have some student loans that are not listed on NSLDS, either check your credit report, which will list all of your obligations, including student loans, or check with the financial aid office where you think you may have taken out a loan. And a reminder, any private loans you have are not going to be listed on NSLDS. It is only federal loans on that site. Now here's a listing of some different loans you may have in your student loan portfolio. We've highlighted Direct Unsubsidized, also sometimes referred to as Stafford, and Direct Plus, also referred to as Grad Plus, as these 2 loans tend to make up the bulk of, if not all of, the portfolio for many medical school graduates. The Direct Unsubsidized loan, remember that you have fixed rates on these loans, and the rate changed on new loans every July 1. So you are graduating, many of you, probably most of you, with multiple Direct Unsubsidized loans. They all have fixed rates, but each one has a different fixed rate. These loans have a 6-month grace period, meaning they come due about 6 months after you graduate or drop below half-time status. Direct Plus, the interest rates work the same way, but they are 1 point higher every year than the rate on Direct Unsubsidized loans. So once again, you may have multiple Direct Plus loans, but each one will have a different fixed rate. Grad Plus loans don't actually have a grace period, but they have something that works in a similar manner. It's called a 6-month post-enrollment deferment. So long story short, these loans should also be coming due about 6 months after you graduate. If you have any campus-based loans or private loans, you'll need to see the disclosure statement that lists the terms and conditions of those loans. Now, once you know what you borrowed, who's got the loans, and when they're coming due, take a look at your own repayment objectives. And there's no right or wrong approach to how you pay back your student loans. Some of you, again, will want to be aggressive in repayment. If that's the case, you'll likely want to find a repayment plan that you can comfortably afford during your training period, and then overpay on your most expensive loan whenever you can. Some of you will want to protect your cash and watch your cash flow. If that's the case, you may want to either postpone payments with a mandatory residency forbearance while you're in training, or you may want to actually use an income plan like Pay or Repay to keep your payments very manageable. Some of you, in fact, many of you, are likely to be interested in maximizing your forgiveness amount through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program if that's part of your repayment strategy. And if that's the case, you'll need to use an income plan with no aggressive payments. We have a separate module on the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. Some of you may be interested in programs called Loan Repayment Assistance Programs. These are programs also referred to as service commitment programs, such as the National Health Service Corps, NIH, the Armed Forces, and also some state programs. This is where, in exchange for your service, you're paid not only a salary, but you're given additional support, financial support, to help you pay down your student loans. These are not forgiveness programs. These organizations are not the ones who made you the loans. They're simply providing you extra financial support to help you pay down your loans in exchange for your service. If you do a service commitment program, always be sure to ask about the additional payments coming from the organization. Are they considered taxable income or not? So different repayment objectives for different borrowers, and these may change throughout training and also while you are an attending physician. Now, once you know what you borrowed, who's got the loans, and when they're coming due, and you have some idea about how you want to go about repaying these, at least initially, step number 3 is simply to choose a repayment plan to help you meet those objectives. We have separate modules on the repayment plan, so this is just a brief summary of them. For the federal repayment plans, there are multiple plans, but they all fall into 2 categories. The plans are either time-driven plans or income-driven plans. The time-driven plans are actually quite simple if you can afford them. The challenge is, with your level of debt, these may be difficult for you, if not impossible, during your training period. But with time-driven plans, the payments are not based on income or family size. They actually never change unless you're using a graduated version of the plans. The plans are set up over a 10-year period of time or a 25-year period of time, and the loan servicer just takes your balance, principal and interest, and they amortize or spread it out over those time periods. If you make the minimum payment under the plans, you will be debt-free at the end of the term, nothing to forgive. But those are time-driven plans. If you can't afford a time-driven plan, that's where you look at the income-driven repayment plans, and the newest ones are pay-as-you-earn, known as Pay, and revised pay-as-you-earn, known as Repay. And again, we have separate modules on these plans. Income-driven plans, the monthly payments change every year. They are based on a federal formula that looks at income and family size. So once again, unlike time-driven plans, the monthly payments with income-driven repayment plans change every year. So a quick summary of this first repayment module. Always know what you borrowed, who you are working with in terms of repayment, who your loan servicer is. Always know the status of your loans and when they're coming due. Identify and constantly review how you want to go about handling your student loan debt. What are your repayment objectives? And again, these will change or are likely to change over time. And then once you know what you borrowed, who you're working with, when the loans are coming due, and you've got an idea about your approach, then select a repayment plan to help you meet those objectives and know how to switch gears later if you need to. This is the end of module number 1.